Welcome to the event. My name is McCann. I work for the Irish Social Literacy Network, and I'm absolutely delighted. I'm really stoked to be holding this event here in Strandhill. The idea is we're going to be celebrating or looking at the marine identity of this area, celebrating that connection we have to that body of water that's right there outside this room. Yeah, this is a phenomenal setting for it. So, a little bit of an introduction from the IOLN, and I have to remember to stand beside the podium. The IOLN, the Irish Ocean Literacy Network, and we're a network of practitioners who care for and protect about the ocean. We promote ocean literacy, helping people understand how the ocean affects our lives and how our lives affect the ocean. Now, the phrase ocean literacy quite often puts people off. It sounds like an academic concept. It sounds like a top-down educational. It sounds like very much sort of going into a room and educating people about the ocean, but that's not what ocean literacy is about. That's only one particular aspect of ocean literacy. Now, it started as an academic movement back in the early 2000s, and some researchers figured that people were really losing sight of how important the ocean is to us. So they developed an education program to tell people about it, but it's moved on since then. It became the 7 principles of ocean literacy, which were logical reasons as to why the ocean was important for us. But in recent years, it's grown again. There's now 10 dimensions of ocean literacy, and it's moved to be about why the ocean is important to us for emotional reasons, for heritage reasons, for cultural reasons. We don't just love the ocean because we value it because of its biodiversity or because of the economic aspects of it. We value it because, particularly in Ireland, the ocean is part of who we are. We are an island nation. A lot of people have forgotten about that. Our lives have revolved around the ocean, probably just over a century ago. This is one of the phrases that's come up over and over again in my work. To salute San full. Iski, I was delighted to know one of her books is Salt Water in the Blood. This is a traditional phrase from Gweedore, where I live, where my husband and I were interviewing some of the local members of a local community about their connection to the ocean. And I got this phrase from the local parish priest, believe it or not. His family were traditionally from Inishbofin, and he still felt this calling from the ocean. He still felt this need to be connected to the ocean. He joined the Coast Guard because he needs to be at sea in some way or another. Yeah. He said it's hard to put into words, and this is the only way he can put it into words. To salute I'm full, I have salt in my blood. And I think that very much describes a lot of the practitioners who've joined the IOLN. So it's not just, we have over 60 members at the moment, and every one of them in some way or another has their own connection to the ocean and works with the ocean in some way or another. We have academics, we have volunteers, local community groups, there's businesses, there's education groups, everyone with their own particular connection and way of working with the ocean. And all of us realize how important the ocean is to us, but not just that, how important we are to the ocean. And our mission is to get more people on the island to see this. Yeah? There is this thing, maybe it'll come up in the talks today, sea blindness. A lot of people have forgotten how important the ocean is to us. And I know I'm speaking to the choir here, preaching to the choir here, because all of us love the ocean, but there's so many people who don't really see the importance of the ocean in our lives. And what we're trying to do with the IOLN is to try and bring together all of our members, enhance what they're doing, building their capacity, networking, give them networking opportunities, all these kind of things to enable them to meet their own aims, their own missions, or whatever they want to do in their work. So I actually have 2 hats on because I work for the IOLN, but my husband and I also co-founded the Sea Collective up in Donegal. And before I started working for the IOLN, I was a member of the Sea Collective. At the start, we found it so isolating because we knew what we wanted to do. We wanted to provide people with opportunities to engage with the ocean, to learn about the ocean. But we were trying to set it up as a social enterprise. People didn't understand what we wanted to do. It was so difficult to get backing and funding because people were saying, so what exactly are you selling? Are you employing? When we joined the IOLN, we met a group of like-minded individuals who understood what we wanted to do, and we were able to get support and advice in organising for ocean literacy, funding sources, all that kind of thing. And I think that's, from my perspective, is what the IOLN is about, is bringing people together, working together for coming in. So how do we do this? We have 4 main work areas, which are divided into IOLN working groups. Understanding local activism, training and capacity building working group. We have an education working group and campaigns. We have communications and resources such as our website. Our website has an events calendar for members to submit their events to. One of the things I found difficult was finding out what's going on in Ireland about the ocean. The idea is we have this calendar and people can see exactly what's going on, where it's going on. There's also a members-only sign-in section where access to workshops, write-ups, anything particular to members is there. We're also part of an EU Horizon project, Guardians, which is about aquatic invasive alien species in Europe, which is very much biodiversity focused, but it aligns with the IOLN strategic aim. So probably my favourite part of my role is Maria Mara here is actually the co-chair of the Understanding Local Activism Working Group, is working with local communities around the coast of Ireland. The idea is, so I think, see collective hat on, sometimes when you go to a meeting, someone stands up and tells you what the issues are and what is important and what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to work towards that. So, and then you get the opportunity to put your hand up and ask questions. That's not engagement. That's not stakeholder engagement. That's not bringing people together to learn. That's you having a top-down attitude and telling people what to do. What our regional meetings are about is I talk to people, I ask people, what are the issues in the area? What do you want to talk about? What do you want to discuss? How do you think you can work together? And then we develop the meeting around what the people in the area want. So far we've had 13 of these. Now, I have to say, before April, this area was very blank. So I made it my mission to pull more events up into the Northwest. Okay. So last month we had an event in Gidorn in County Donegal. Obviously this event in Strandhill, and then there's going to be an event in the Foyle area later on this year. I'm really, really happy to be in Strandhill because we've been doing the Water Awareness Day with Strandhill for the past few years, and to see the knowledge and the community input in this area, I mean, this area is crying out to be involved in the conversations on ocean literacy. This area has really its own very unique perspective and that big body of water out there, your own way of like liquid therapy and everything working around this big bay. It's about time there was a meeting here. So, second, training and capacity building working group, and that's where we ask the IOLN members, what are the issues, what are facing you, what's stopping you from achieving your aims, and then we will come up with workshops or seminars around those. These are for members only. In the past year, we've successfully obtained funding from the training links to run 4 workshops. We've completed that, and we're now in the process of asking our members if there's anything else they want us to run for the rest of the year, one of which is likely to be organising for ocean literacy, which is like how to build your organisation, what structure to take your organisation in. Huge one, this year we have campaign, My Ocean, and it's fairly simple and straightforward. What does the ocean mean to you? We want to capture people's emotional connections with the ocean. Yeah, we're asking people, for we see it over here, to send in a photo, a blog, a story. What is it the ocean means to you? Is the ocean important to you because of your heritage, because it's your family? Or is it important to you because of biodiversity? What is it that ties you to the ocean? I'll give you an example. Because last year we had an event in Connemara. And again, with the theme of marine identity, what is your tie to the ocean? And we invited some transition year students to the event to tell us. And people have thought that the issue in that area would have been the lack of economic opportunities, the lack of the economy, because that area had been a fishing area traditionally. When we asked the students, one of them held up a piece of metal this big. He said, this is what ties me to the ocean. This, I was like, what is it? It's the last part of a nail that was in a boat. And he told us then that for generations, his family had been the ones to take things out to the island. That had been their role. So there are effectively ferries, but that had stopped. That wasn't there anymore. The only thing that was left of his family's legacy was that one piece of metal. And that, everybody in the room just went silent, because it's so poignant to know that this 16-year-old is articulate enough to be able to sort of give us his insight into this is his tie to the ocean, and it's gone, and he wants some way of reconnecting with the ocean moving forward. So, international projects, Elvestein, Guardius. It's a 3-year Horizon Europe project that started in January 2025. It aims to improve detection and prevent the spread of aquatic alien invasive species. We support the communication and dissemination of project outcomes and insights, but just like a way of saying the website, communicating with a wide range of stakeholders, social media, and that type of thing. With the Education Working Group, I'm delighted to say that later on this month, we have co-organised the ICASE Marine Strand at the ICASE conference, which is the International Council of Associations of Science Education, which is a tongueful. The Marine Strand has been endorsed by the United Nations as an Ocean Decade activity. And as well as that, we're launching the Ocean Literacy Foundation of Success for the Ocean Decade, Volume 3 at that event. The IOLN is also Chapter 15 in this event, and this is also an Ocean Decade activity. So it's nice to know that Ireland is getting the recognition it deserves and at the international level for our work in ocean literacy. The Irish Ocean Literacy Network is the oldest established network in Europe. It is the only one at the moment. When I'm at international events, I get people coming up and asking me, so how do you guys do it? How do you bring people together? How has this happened? There's nothing else like it in Europe, and I'm very proud of that, but I don't think it's IOLN. I think for me, it's the fact that there's so many organisations in Ireland who want to work together to achieve this. So, finally, I'm not going to talk much more. The programme for today, so this is my welcome, and the programme for today is just my welcome, and now I'm sure you've been waiting to hear Iske speak. Then we're going to move on to panel 1 discussion, which is going to be facilitated by Donald Griffin from First Seas. We're going to have a lunch, networking lunch, with the exhibitions around here, give us an opportunity to talk to each other, to have constructive dialogue. And then after lunch, we're going to have the second panel discussion, followed by closing plenary at the end of the day. And then I think we might finish a little bit early because some people have suggested that we do a beach clean, and I think that's a fantastic idea if anybody wants to stay behind to do that. I have not printed out copies of the programme, but if you want, you can scan it here and open it on your phone. Okay, we're trying to keep this event as sustainable as possible. But finally, I hope everybody leaves today having learned something new, met someone new, which is highly unlikely because I think you guys all know each other anyway. I'm talking about community, everybody knows everybody. Usually for these events, I have a short meeting ahead of it so everybody gets to meet each other, the panelists get to meet each other, but everybody knew each other, and I was sort of like, I don't know anyone. So anyway, meet someone new or inspired to do something new. Okay? Well, thank you very much for listening to me.